Okay. Try to copy this for my notes. Just won't do it. Since I'm offline. There we go. Freaking finally. All right. Today I'm literally doing exactly what it says in the title. I'm going to read the Constitution. I really want to hit the back button, of course. I want to get back to basics. I want to, it's like, last time you actually read it, or people always talk, like mention, oh, da 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 da. I want an actual to read it word by word and not just have someone like quote it at you. I must have done this in like high school, but I think it's time to actually go through and actually read it. All right. So, Article 1, we'll start it right at the beginning. Oh, I guess I should read the preamble. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure blessings of liberty, ourselves, our prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution. This is preamble. All right, Section 1. This is just the actual laying out of the houses, branches of Congress, and all that good stuff. All right. Section 1. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. All right. Section 2. The House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen by every second year by people of the several states, and electors in each state shall have the qualifications I can't say this word.
Requisite.
Requisite for electors for the most numerous branch of state legislators. No person shall be a representative who shall not have attained the age of 25 and been 7 years of citizenship of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be inhabitant of a state which shall be chosen. All right. So the House of Representatives chosen by electors to be 25 and a citizen of that state. All right. Simple so far. I wonder why there's a link on this one. Oh, we have the amendments. Okay. That are linked to it. Representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among several states which may be included within this union, according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding the whole number of free persons, including those bound in servitude for a term of years, and excluding Indians not taxed, 3/5 of all other persons. The actual enumeration shall be made within 3 years after the first meeting of Congress of the United States, and with every subsequent term of 10 years. So that's why we have a census every 10 years. In such manner as they shall by law direct the number of representatives, and shall not exceed 1 for every 30,000. But each state shall have at least 1 representative, and until each enumeration shall be made, the state of New Hampshire shall be entitled to choose 3, Massachusetts 8, Rhode Island and Providence Plantations 1. No, Rhode Island was always small. Connecticut 5, New York 6, New Jersey 4, Peninsula 8, Delaware 1, blah, blah, blah. Okay. When vacancies happen in representation from any state, the executive authority shall, within rights of election, shall fill such vacancy. The House of Representatives shall choose their speaker and all other officers, and shall have the sole power of impeachment. So only the House can impeach. And going of how many for each one, there is many amendments to this. Of Article 3, Section 2. No, I want Article 1, Section 2. Amendment 1. The Constitution was modified by Section 2 of the 14th Amendment. Okay. This is a big one going on right now, so maybe I should go over the amendments at a later time instead of trying to do it at the same time that I'm actually reading it. Section 3, this is going to be all about the Senate. The Senate of the United States shall be comprised of 2 senators from each state, chosen by the legislators, the state legislators. Which I'm not going to go to the amendment right now. Therefore, of 6 years. This has, of course, changed through amendments. Therefore, for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. Immediately after they shall be assembled in the consequence of the first election, they shall be divided as equally as may be into 3 classes. The seats of the senators of the first class shall be vacated at the expiration of the 2nd year, and the 2nd class of expiration in the 4th year, and the 3rd class in the expiration of the 6th year, so that 1/3 may be chosen every 2nd year. So we have off-year elections. And we are always 1/3 of the senators up for re-election. And if vacancy happens by resignation or other during the recess of the legislature of any state, the executive therefore may make temporary appointments until the next meeting of the legislature, which shall then fill such vacancies. This has definitely changed. No person shall be a senator who shall not have attained the age of 30 years and been 9 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of a state for which he shall be chosen. The Vice President of the United States shall be the President of the Senate, but shall have no vote unless equally divided. It's the tiebreaker in the Senate. That's why this tiebreaker happened a few times under Biden. Kamala Harris was the tiebreaker, but not. It doesn't happen very often. It's kind of like senators don't like it. The Senate shall choose. Is this a strange spelling of choose? I've never choose. It is. It is an archaic spelling of choose. Their other officers, and also a president pro tempore. Let's make sure this is a Latin term for the time being. Okay. In the absence of the vice president, or when shall exercise the office of the President of the United States, the Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. So earlier, House of Representatives. Where is it? Shall have the sole power of to impeach, so to bring charges, but the Senate tries the president. Another balance of power. When sitting for that purpose, they shall be on oath or affirmation. When the President of the United States is tried, the Chief Justice shall preside, and no person shall be convicted without the concurrence of 2/3 of the members present. So you need a 2/3 vote to impeach someone. Judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than the removal of office and disqualification to hold and enjoy any other office, honor, trust, or profit in the United States. But the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, punishment according to the law. I should read more writing on this section because this seems important in recent history. Section 4. The times, places, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislator thereof. But the Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulations except as to the places of choosing senators. The Congress shall assemble at least once every year, and such meetings shall be on the first Monday in December. This has apparently been amended, unless they shall by law appoint a different day. All right. When and how elections happen. All right. Section 5. We're still in the how Congress works. Each house shall be the judge of the elections, returns, and qualifications of its own members, and a majority of each shall constitute a quorum to do business, but a smaller number may adjourn from day to day, and may be authorized to compel the attendance of absent members in such manner and under such penalties as each house may provide. So the House is in charge of how they will run their stuff. And you need at least half of them there to have a quorum or to do business. So you need at least half the members there to actually have a vote. Each house may determine the rules of proceedings, punish its members for disorderly behavior, and with the concurrence of 2/3 expel a member. So again, you need another 2/3. It's like the impeachment. You need a 2/3 to kick someone out. Each house shall keep a journal of its proceedings, and from time to time publish the same, except such parts as may in their judgment require secrecy. And in the yeas and nays of the members of either house on any question shall, at the desire of 1/5 of those present, be entered into the journal. So you need a 5th to say, like, yeah, y'all have to write down your damn votes. Neither house during the session of Congress shall, without the consent of the other, adjourn for more than 3 days, nor to any other place than that is which the two houses shall be sitting. So you need the permission of the other house to adjourn for more than a short break. All right. Section 6. The senators and representatives shall receive a compensation for their services to be ascertained by law and paid out of the Treasury of the United States. They shall, in all cases except treason, felony, breach of peace, be privileged from arrest during their attendance at the session of their respective houses, and in going to returning from the same, and for any speech or debate in either house shall not be questioned in any other place. No senator or representative shall, during the time for which they are elected, be appointed to any other civil offices under the authority of the United States, which shall have been created, or the... I don't know this word.
Emolument.
Emolument. A salary. Whereas shall have been increased during such time, and no person holding office in the United States shall be a member of either house during the continuance in office. All right, so you got to be a senator, you got to be a representative, you can't go do other stuff in the government, at least. And you can't be arrested except for really big stuff. All bills for the raising of revenue shall originate, man, I can really speak so well, in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendments as on other bills. So all budgets have to start in the House. Every bill which shall have passed the House of Representatives and the Senate shall before it becomes a law, be presented to the United States. This is the classic balance of power that you always hear quoted. The three branches: pass, veto, and then or pass a veto, and then it is a law. If he approve, he shall sign it, but if not, shall return it with his objections to the House. So if he vetoes, or if he says no, you can take it back to the House because of these reasons, in which it shall have originated. Who shall enter the objections at large on the journal and proceed to reconsider it. If after such reconsideration 2/3 of the House shall agree to pass the bill, it shall be sent together with the objections to the other House, by which it shall likewise be reconsidered, and if proved by 2/3 of that House, shall become a law. So this is a check on the check. Checks on checks on checks. But in all cases, the votes of both houses shall be determined by yeas and nays, and the names of persons voting for and against the bill shall be entered in the journal of each house respectively. They like this journal of keeping track of the votes. If any bill shall not be returned by the president within 10 days, Sundays except Sunday, after it shall have been presented to him, the same shall be a law, in like manner as if he had signed it, unless Congress by their adjournment prevented its return, in which case it shall not be a law. So you can't like trick this time delay by like, oh, we adjourned, you don't return it. Every order, resolution, or vote with the concurrence of the Senate and the House of Representatives may be necessary, except for on the question of adjournments, shall be presented to the President of the United States, and before the same shall take effect, shall be approved by him, or being disapproved by him, shall be repassed by 2/3 of the Senate and the House, according to the rules of limitations prescribed in the case of a bill. All right. Section 8. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imports, and excises, to pay the debts and provide for a common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imports, excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. Can't do it state by state. Any tax shall be equal throughout the states. Makes sense. To borrow money on the credit of the United States, to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among several states, and with the Indian tribes, to establish uniform rule of naturalization and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcy throughout the United States, to coin money, regulate the value thereof, and of foreign coin, and fix the standard weights and measures, to provide for the punishment and counterfeiting of securities and current coin of the United States. So, saying all the things the Congress can do: to establish post offices and post roads, to promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive rights to their respective writings and discoveries. This is the Patent Office. To constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court. To define and punish piracies and felonies committed among the high seas and offenses against the law of nations. So they have the right to fight pirates. To declare war, grant letters of marque. A letter of marque. I've heard this term, but I actually don't remember what it means. A letter of marque is a commission authorizing privately owned ships known as privateers. Okay, so it gives the right them to hire privateers and reprisal and make rules considering captures on land and water. To raise and support armies, but no appropriation of money to that use shall be for longer than a term of 2 years. Interesting. To provide and maintain a navy. To make rules for government and regulations of land and naval forces. To provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, or repel invasions. Only Congress can call forth the militia. Which we don't really have a militia anymore. So I wonder how this is like seen in like today's time. I really need to bring up a Google Doc here. I have to really start writing this down. Constitution questions. That I want it to come back on, especially this. How is this in today's rules? In today's environments? To provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia, and for governing such part of them as to be employed by the service of the United States, reserving to the states respectively the appointment of officers and the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress. So Congress can organize, arm the militia, discipline the militia, but the officers are to be prescribed by each individual state of where the militias came from. Interesting. To exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such district not exceeding 10 miles square as may by secession of particular states and acceptance of Congress become the seat of government of the United States, and to exercise a like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislator of the Senate in which the same shall be, for the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings, and to make laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying out the execution of foregoing powers, and all other powers vested by the Constitution, the government, or any department officer thereof. All laws to be necessary and proper for foregoing powers, and foregoing all powers that the Constitution. Yeah, you got to do what the Constitution said. You can't go beyond what the Constitution says. Pretty clear. At least I think so. The migration or the importation of such persons as to any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit shall not be prohibited by Congress prior to the year of 1808, but a tax or duty may be imposed on such importation not exceeding $10 per person. Congress can't tell. Interesting. The privilege of the right of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion of the public safety require it. Habeas corpus. Let's go. You have the right to a trial. Okay. No bill, attainder, or ex post facto law shall be passed. Bill of attainder. Oh, you can't pass a bill that some group can't have a trial. Okay. No capitation or other direct tax shall be laid unless in proportion to the census or enumerated herein before direction to be taken. This has been amended, at least this part. No tax or duty shall be laid on articles exported from any state. No tax or duty shall be laid on exports. No preference shall be given by any regulation of commerce or revenue to the ports of one state over those of another. You can't play favorites. Nor shall vessels bound to or from one state be obliged to enter, clear, or pay duties of another. Ships can go to any state they want. Congress can't tell them no. Or no money shall be drawn from the treasury, but the consequence of appropriation made by law and regular statement of account and receipts and expenditures of any public money shall be published from time to time. You can't take any money without making an appropriation bill. You have to have receipts, and you have to publish it. No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of Congress, accept any of the present annulment, office, or title of any kind whatsoever from a king, prince, or foreign state. Can't be office and be the Duke of Salisbury or whatever. Section 10. No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque, reprisal, coin money, emit bills, take anything but gold and silver coin, tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainment, ex post facto law or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. So no states can do any of these things that Congress has the authority to. Although I think states do emit bills of credit, which I don't know how they get around that. Because I know they're not supposed to. But because I know states have debts. Maybe there's some weird legal loophole. The executive. All right, Article 2. Article 2. What's this? The overview. Details the executive branch. And lays out rules for electing president, eligibility. Okay. Here we go. President. This is the president time. How many sections are in here? 4 sections. MAGA. Okay. Should be reading this more than anyone. The executive power shall be vested in the President of the United States. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years, and together with the Vice President, chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. Each shall appoint in such a manner as the legislator thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled by Congress. But no senator or representative or person holding the office of trust or profit on the United States shall be appointed as an elector. So you can't hold office and be elector at the same time. The electors shall meet in their respective states, a vote by ballot for 2 persons, of whom one at least shall be not an inhabitant of the same state with themselves, and they shall make a list of all the persons voted for and of the number of votes for each, which, this is very out of date. and transmit and seal the seat of government of the United States shall be directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and the House of Representatives, open all certificates, and the votes shall be counted. The persons having the greatest number of votes shall be president. In such number be the majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and there be more than one who have such a majority and have an equal number of votes, then the House of Representatives shall immediately choose by ballot one of them for president. And if no person having a majority, then from the 5 highest on the list of said house shall be in like manner choose the president. But in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by the states, the representative from each state having 1 vote, a quorum for the purpose. This has all been amended many times. I'm just going to come back this when I come to the amendments. All right. The Congress may determine the time and choosing the electors and the day of which they shall give their votes, which day shall be the same throughout the United States. Congress determines election day. No person except a natural-born citizen or citizen of the United States at the time of adoption by this Constitution shall be eligible to the office of the President. Neither shall any person be eligible to that office who shall have attained the age of 35 years and been 14 years a resident with the United States. In cases of removal of the president or his death, resignation, or ability to discharge the powers and duties of the United States, the same shall devolve on the vice president. Congress may by law provide for the case of removal, death, or resignation, or inability, both of the president and vice president, declaring what office shall then act as president, and such officers shall act accordingly until the disability be removed or a new president shall be elected. This has also been amended. This is a lot more detailed nowadays. The president shall, at stated times, receive for his services compensation, which shall neither be increased nor diminished during the period of which he shall have been elected. Can't give him a raise or a pay cut until the next president comes. And he shall not receive within that period any other emolument from the United States or any of them. He can't take any more money from the United States except for his pay, and he can't take any money from states. How did Obama become president then? He was elected. Before he entered on the execution of his office, he shall take the following oath of affirmation. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and shall my best ability preserve, protect, or defend the Constitution of the United States. Section 2. The President shall be the commander-in-chief of the Army and the Navy of the United States and of the militia of the several states. When called into actual service of the United States, he may require the opinion in writing of the principal officer of each of the executive departments upon any subject relating to the duties of their respective offices, and he shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenders against the United States, except for in cases of impeachment. He shall have power by which the advice and consent of the Senate to make treaties, provide two-thirds of the senators present concur, and he shall nominate, and with the advice of consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other offices of the United States, whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for, and which shall be established by law. But the Congress may by law vest the appointment of such inferior offices as they think proper in the President alone, in the courts of law, or in the heads of departments. The President shall have the power to fill up vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their session. He shall from time to time give Congress information of the State of the Union and recommend their consideration such measures as he shall necessarily and expedient. He may, on extraordinary occasions, convene both houses or either of them in the case of disagreement between them. With respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them at such times as he thinks shall be proper. He shall receive ambassadors and other public matters. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed, and shall commission all other officers of the United States. Section 4. The President and all other civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for the conviction of treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. What would... all right. Article 3. The judicial branch. Section 1. The judicial powers of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges both of the Supreme and inferior courts shall hold their offices during good behavior, and shall at stated times receive this for their services compensation, which shall not be diminished during the continuance of office. Section 2. The judicial powers shall extend to all cases, laws, and equity arising under the Constitution, laws of the United States, and treaties made or which shall be made under their authority, to all case affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and councils, to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, to controversies to which the United States shall be party, the controversies between one or two more states, between state and citizen of another state, between citizens of different states, between citizens of the same state claiming lands under grants of different states, between a state or the citizens thereof and foreign states, citizens and subjects. In all cases affecting ambassadors and other public ministers and councils, and those in which state shall be party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. In all other cases before mentioned, the Supreme Court shall have appellate jurisdiction, both as to law and fact, and with such expectations under such regulations of Congress shall make. The trial of crimes, except in cases of impeachment, shall be a jury, and such trial shall be held in the state where said crime shall be committed. But when not committed within any state, the trial shall be on such place or places as Congress may by law have directed. This is laying out exactly what the Supreme Courts can rule on. Section 3. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them, or in any adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of two witnesses to the same overt act, or on the confession in open court. The Congress shall have power to declare punishment of treason, but no attainder of treason shall work corruption of blood or forfeiture except during the life of the person attainted. It's laying out what treason is. All right. Gosh, the section on the Supreme Court is so much weaker than how they are today. Section 4. Section 4, what's the overview on Section 4? Outlines the states' powers in relationship to each other. States have the authority to create and enforce their own laws. Okay, this is how the state versus federal government. Section 1. Full faith and credit shall be given to each state to the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of every other state, and Congress may, by general laws, prescribe the manner in which such acts, records, and proceedings shall be proved and the effect thereof. All right. The citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens of the several states. The person charged in any state with treason, felony, or other crimes, who shall flee from justice and be found in another state, shall, on demand of the executive authority of the state from which he fled be delivered up to be removed to the state having jurisdiction of the crime. So you can't just run to another state and be like, you have to give him back. if they want to try him for something, you have to. No person held to service or labor in one state under the laws thereof escaping to another shall, in consequence of any law regulation therein, be discharged from such service or labor, but shall be delivered upon the claim of the party whom such service or labor may be due. This has been amended, but I'm not doing the amendments right now. The Congress shall have power to dispose of and make all needed rules and regulations respecting the territory or other property belonging to the United States, and nothing in this Constitution shall be constructed as to prejudice any claims of the United States or any particular state. So Congress has the ability, is the only one with the ability to make new states. States can't make new states. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion on an application of the legislator or of the executive when the legislative cannot be convened against domestic violence. The United States guarantees that each state will have a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion. So the United States promises to protect you all. We promise, little buddies. Article 5 explains the amendment process, which is different and more difficult than the process of making laws. Okay, going to amendments. This is a very small section. The Congress, whenever 2/3 of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall approve amendments to this Constitution, or on the application of legislators 2/3 of the several states, shall call a convention for proposing amendments, which in either case shall be valid to all intents and purposes as part of the Constitution, when ratified by the legislators of 3/4 of several states, or by conventions of 3/4 thereof, as the one or the other mode of ratification may be proposed by Congress, provided that no amendment which may be made prior to year 1888 shall be in any manner to affect the first and fourth clauses in the 9th section of the first article, and that no state without its consent shall be deprived of its equal suffrage in the Senate. All right. So how amendment made and what amendments can't do. The 9th section of the first article. Oh, this is the taxing one. Article 6 states that federal law is supreme. Okay, Article 6, Supremacy Clause. All all debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of the Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation Articles of Confederation. This Constitution and the laws of the United States shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. So the Constitution is supreme over all other laws in the United States and treaties. The senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of several state legislators, and all executive and judicial officers both of the United States and of the several states shall be bound by oath or affirmations to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust of the United States. Again, Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and no religious test. All right. Article 8 describes the ratification process for the Constitution. The ratification convention of the United States shall be sufficient for the establishment of this Constitution between the states, so ratifying the same. The word "the" being interlined between the 7th and 8th lines of the first page. The word 30 being partly written on an erasure on the 15th line of the first page. The words "is tried" to be interlined between the 32nd and 33rd lines of the first page, and the word "the" being interlined between the 43rd and 44th lines of the second page. All right. Done in the convention by the unanimous consent of the states present the 17th day of September in the year of our Lord, 1787, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 12th in witness whereof we have hitherto subscribed our names. Everyone signs. That is all the articles. It's getting pretty late. I think I will go over all the amendments tomorrow. Sounds like a good time. Hope everyone has a good night. Thanks so much.